Most multiplayer mobile games somehow end up being the same thing. Drop from a plane, grab a gun, and get eliminated by someone who apparently hasn't seen sunlight in 3 years. So I went looking for something different. These are 10 unique and underrated multiplayer games on Android and iOS that are actually worth playing with your friends. Number 10. Crash of Cars is basically what happens when someone looks at bumper-cars and decides they need missiles. You drive around small arenas collecting crowns while grabbing weapons like cannons, flamethrowers, and other completely reasonable things to attach to a car. The problem is, the more crowns you collect, the more everyone suddenly wants you dead. Matches are quick, chaotic, and surprisingly competitive. And yes, you can play with friends, although friendships may not survive someone stealing 20 crowns at the last second. Number 9. Spaceteam might be the only multiplayer game where screaming nonsense at your friends is actually the correct strategy. Every player gets a spaceship control panel filled with buttons, switches, and things that sound like they were named by someone who hadn't slept in 4 days. Your instructions might tell you to activate something that is actually on your friend's screen. So now everyone is shouting commands while the spaceship slowly falls apart. Basically, communication is important. Screaming is optional, but it will happen anyway. Number 8. The Battle of Polytopia looks like a cute little strategy game until your friend builds an army next to your border and suddenly nobody trusts anybody. You choose a tribe, explore the map, build cities, research technology, and slowly expand your civilization. Then, eventually, diplomacy fails and somebody gets invaded. The matches are turn-based, so you actually have time to think instead of tapping your screen like your life depends on it. If civilization feels like homework to you, this is basically the mobile-friendly version. Number 7. Soul Knight starts with you entering a dungeon with your friends. 5 minutes later, there are bullets everywhere, somebody has a ridiculous weapon, and nobody remembers what the original plan was. It is a roguelike shooter with randomly generated dungeons, tons of weapons, different characters, bosses, and enough projectiles to make your screen question its career choices. You can team up with other players, and runs can go from surprisingly tactical to complete chaos very quickly. That is exactly why it is fun. Number 6. Tock, A Tale for Two is a 2-player puzzle game designed to test both your intelligence and how well your friend can explain basic shapes. You and another player are trapped inside a strange clockwork world, but neither person can see the complete puzzle. One player might have a clue that makes absolutely no sense until the other person explains what is happening on their screen. It is clever, creepy, and built around communication. Just remember, when you get stuck for 30 minutes, blaming your friend does not technically count as solving the puzzle. Number 5. The Past Within takes the 2-screen puzzle idea and makes it even stranger. One player is in the past while the other is in the future. Neither of you has enough information to solve everything alone, so you constantly have to describe objects, symbols, numbers, and whatever disturbing thing appears on your screen. Both players get their own perspective, and you can replay the game after switching roles. If you and a friend want something genuinely different, this one is an easy recommendation. Number 4. Drive Ahead is what happens when a driving game decides racing normally is too boring. Instead of trying to reach a finish line, you drive into an arena and try to smash your opponent with your vehicle. The tiny arena's weird vehicles, physics, and environmental hazards make every match unpredictable. 1 second you look like a professional. 2 seconds later, your car is upside down and your friend is wondering why you drove directly into a giant saw. Number 3. Duel does something most mobile games completely ignore. It actually uses 2 phones as part of the gameplay. You and your friend use separate devices, and objects appear to travel from one screen toward the other. It almost feels like both phones become one giant game board. There are competitive modes where you fight each other, and cooperative modes where you work together. The graphics are extremely simple, but once 2 people start playing, the idea makes complete sense. Number 2. BOKURA is the kind of co-op game where asking your friend, "Can you see that?" becomes a surprisingly important question. 2 players explore the same world, except they do not necessarily see that world in the same way. You have to describe what is happening on your screen, listen to your partner, solve puzzles together, and make decisions that can affect the story. It is strange, atmospheric, and much more focused on cooperation than competition. Grab a friend, get on voice chat, and prepare to argue about things that apparently only one of you can see. Number 1. Sky, Children of the Light is probably the most peaceful multiplayer game where you can somehow lose an hour without realizing it. Instead of shooting everyone you meet, you explore beautiful worlds, fly through huge environments, discover hidden areas, and interact with other players. You can travel with friends, help strangers, and basically go on an adventure without the game constantly screaming at you to win something. Sometimes you're exploring with friends, sometimes you are helping a random player, and sometimes you are just flying around because the game looks ridiculously good. If you are tired of multiplayer games turning every match into a championship final, this is an easy number one for something different. And those are 10 unique multiplayer games for Android and iOS that deserve way more attention. Some will test your skills, some will test your brain, and some will mostly test whether your friends can understand you while everyone is screaming at the same time.